Hi, my name is Lucas. Today we're going to be talking about backcountry skiing. So what that involves is you're going to be walking, you're going to be earning some turns. What that means to each individual is a little bit different. So we're going to cover a couple different setups that you could use to maximize your time out there. First thing we're going to talk about is boots. So there's a couple distinct differences with your boot setup that kind of determine what you're going to be doing out there. First thing is kind of a boot that's meant more for uphill travel. So more on the touring side, less on the downhill side. That would be something like this. This is the new Radical Pro from Dynafit. What you get with that more touring specific setup is you get a higher range of motion for walking. So you get a lot more motion in the boot, making walking uphill easier. It's a lighter weight setup. So that means it's going to feel a little bit softer on the downhill. Still something that's fully capable, something that you can learn to ski downhill on well. But definitely prioritizes uphill travel over downhill performance. So that would be your touring specific. The other boot that we have here, it's what's called a hybrid boot. It's basically your resort style regular boot with walking capabilities. So this would be kind of the opposite side of the spectrum. This is a boot that can walk uphill that prioritizes the downhill. And a walk mode on here gives you some range of motion, so allows you to get up the hill, but then, kind of once you lock it out and start moving, more priority to the downhill. So better power transference, a little bit more robust build, so something that's going to feel more like your standard Alpine boot. So when you kind of start having this conversation about what you're going to be doing out there, it's important to kind of know, I'm looking for something that's going to be really more uphill specific or really 50-50 resort to backcountry. Next thing we're going to talk about is bindings. So to kind of piggyback off of what we just talked about, this is what's called a hybrid binding. So this is a binding that has touring capabilities, a little more robust, and is going to feel more like a downhill binding when it's transitioned over to skiing downhill. So again, this is the shift from Salomon. So this is a really strong offering for someone that's doing 50-50 resort to backcountry. Easy to use, and again, feels like a downhill binding when you're skiing downhill. Another option in that hybrid category would be something like this. This is the Marker Duke PT. So again, something that's tour capable, but you can still ski downhill. It's going to feel very familiar. And then the third thing that we're looking at is a full pin tech touring binding. This is going to be a super, super lightweight setup. Again, prioritizing a little bit more on the uphill side of things than the downhill side of things. So what you get is something that's really lightweight, really easy to walk in, and really quick to transition. So when I say transition, I mean that time when you go from skiing or from walking to skiing. With this, it is something that you'd probably be able to ride resort on, but definitely prioritizes uphill versus downhill. So again, if you're looking for that setup that's going to be super, super light, it's going to take you way out into the backcountry. Something like this paired with this is going to be a really, really lightweight setup. Next thing we're going to talk about is skis. This is the Black Crow's Orva. The Orva is a super light touring weight ski. So again, prioritizing that uphill to downhill. This is going to be a really light setup. So in terms of how far you're traveling or where you're skiing, this is definitely on the lighter weight side of things. So again, prioritizing that uphill, but definitely, can ski downhill really well as well. Next ski that I have here, this is the Atomic Bent 110. 10 is going to be more that 50-50 ski. So it's going to be that ski that still, it's a lightweight build, but prioritizes inbounds performance as well as flotation and out of bounds travel, something that pairs well with a hybrid binding. You could also put a touring binding on here, but I think that in most cases, like this ski with a shift is kind of a quiver killer. Kind of does everything, gets you out in the backcountry, still skis really well on the downhill side of things. With that said, there's a lot of mixing and matching that can be done, and we kind of cater that to every person's needs. Some people might want something that's really light, but that they like to charge downhill, and we can kind of mix and match and put all this together to make your own kind of recipe, I'll say. Last thing we're going to talk about is skins. So two distinct differences here. This is a mohair nylon hybrid skin. What you're going to get with this skin is it's going to be lighter weight. You're going to get better glide, not as quite as durable as a nylon skin. So with the nylon skin, this is a really robust skin. It's really, really beefy. Really, really good grip. Not as much glide. So again, when we talk about skins, it's more so what the person's looking to do. So if you're looking for maximum uphill travel and efficiency, probably a hybrid or a mohair skin. If you're looking for, that 50-50 kind of do everything workhorse skin, nylon's the way to go. This is just ender final thought here. No matter what you're doing in the backcountry or what you're doing outside skiing, just making sure that you're paying attention to avalanche conditions and have the education to what's safe and what's not. Obviously, you can get to a lot of amazing terrain with these things, but we want to make sure that you do that safely with all the right education.